Comments from Susan Lee that yourself and senior ministers haven't shown sufficient grief and emotion from the attack. And do you regret the politicisation that has occurred following the massacre?
I certainly do regret the politicisation of this issue. This is a time where the nation needs to come together in unity and with that sense of purpose. This is not a time for people to look for political product differentiation for the sake of it. And I'll continue to argue for unity. I'll continue to conduct myself in a way that's consistent with that call for national unity, with being focused on making a difference, with providing support for the agencies who are conducting their investigations. I would hope that other people do that too. That is what happens at a time of national crisis and mourning. That is what national leaders do. That is what has happened in the past. And I must say I thank those people from across the world, but across here as well. I've had leaders from across the political spectrum, former leaders, reach out saying that that is what we should be seeing in Australia right now.
Minister, just for you, you gave more information on your gun reforms package. You met with state officials yesterday. Are they all moving at the speed that you would like to see your reforms introduced, and what's your timeline there? When would you like to see your package put to Parliament?
I expect we'll be in a situation where the Commonwealth legislation to enable everything happens before the state legislation happens in some jurisdictions. Obviously, New South Wales legislation has been happening immediately, some of that. So what we have from the states, where at early times in terms of their bureaucratic work, but no jurisdictions are preventing the work from being progressed. And I think every government in Australia is in the same position at the moment in terms of Australians. One of the questions which was asked, which the Prime Minister referred to a moment ago, was how does someone living in the suburbs have 6 firearms like that? How on earth does that happen? And then there's been the extra questions that have been asked in terms of how can you have a firearms licence if you're not an Australian citizen? There's a series of measures that are being taken, every one of which goes to the specific circumstances that we saw there. But there is goodwill still across all jurisdictions, and I think that's because it's backed so strongly by the Australian people.
Yeah. Prime Minister, thank you. Understandably, you've put a lot of focus on the action that can be taken now in the days after the massacre. Christmas is also a time of reflection, I'm sure, for yourself and for many other Australians too. And I'm wondering if you'll use that time at all to reflect on some of the calls for a National Royal Commission, the sentiment for why people are calling for that, and whether you feel there would be anything to fear from that process, whether at New South Wales or national level.
Christmas is a time for reflection. I'll be reflecting on faith. I'll be reflecting on the year that's been and the year to come. And it is a time where family and friends can come together. And I certainly wish that everyone has the best Christmas possible. I'll be conducting myself in the usual way as well of the events in my electorate that I go to. I just note that there was no Royal Commission called by the Howard government after Port Arthur. There was no Royal Commission called by the Abbott government after the Lindt siege. We provided on both those occasions as the opposition, and I was a part of that opposition, we provided support for national unity at that time. We have now, New South Wales has said that they're going to have a Royal Commission. We've said we'll cooperate with that, and we certainly will. And the Richardson Review will be completed by April. I note the clauses, the 25 clauses with sub-clauses add up to more than 100 areas of investigation have been called for in a Royal Commission by the coalition, if you go through them all. That would report in many years to come and there hasn't been a Royal Commission held recently that has not had an extension of time. We know who the perpetrators are here. One of them is dead, and one of them has now been transferred to Long Bay Jail. We know what the motivation is, that they are motivated by the evil ideology of ISIS and a perversion of Islam. We are continuing to investigate whether any other connections can be made, and the amount of work that has been done by police and security agencies in a relatively short period of time is quite extraordinary.